listen and practice. Alex dreamed of global communication. English, he believed, held the key to unlocking countless opportunities and understanding diverse cultures across continents. His enthusiasm was initially boundless, a vibrant fire within him, fueling his aspirations to connect with people from every corner of the world. Yet, a shadow loomed over his bright vision. The journey, however, proved far more challenging than he had ever anticipated. Every lesson seemed to present a new hurdle, a fresh linguistic puzzle that Alex struggled immensely to solve. He often felt overwhelmed by the sheer volume of new information, the intricate grammar rules, and the unfamiliar sounds of the English language. A common, nagging question echoed in his mind daily: why I always make mistakes. This thought plagued him, casting a pall over his efforts. Despite hours spent studying, his spoken sentences often felt clunky, and written assignments were riddled with errors, leaving him feeling profoundly discouraged and uncertain about his progress. He'd meticulously review grammar rules, memorize vocabulary lists, and yet, in conversation, the perfect word or correct verb tense would consistently elude him. This constant slip-up chipped away at his confidence, making him hesitant to participate in discussions or even attempt simple English dialogues. The fear of failure was palpable. His initial excitement slowly gave way to a persistent sense of frustration. Alex found himself questioning his own capability, wondering if he was simply not cut out for language learning, if some people were naturally gifted and he was not among them. The dream began to fade slightly. He remembered an instance during a video call where he mixed up effect and effect, causing a minor misunderstanding that embarrassed him deeply. Such incidents, small individually, collectively built a wall of self-doubt around his aspirations. He felt a profound sense of inadequacy. How to remember words became his next urgent quest. He tried flashcards, repetition, even sticking notes on every object in his room, hoping for some miraculous retention. He spent countless hours poring over dictionaries, trying to absorb new vocabulary, but the words seemed to vanish as quickly as they appeared in his mind. He'd learned 20 new words today, only to recall 5 by tomorrow. The cycle was disheartening. Mnemonic devices sometimes helped, but not consistently enough to build a robust vocabulary quickly. His brain felt like a sieve, letting crucial linguistic elements slip through its porous structure with alarming regularity. Alex then shifted his focus to observing how people speak English. He watched countless interviews and vlogs, trying to discern the nuances of native pronunciation and intonation. He was amazed by their speed and the effortless flow of their conversations, a stark contrast to his own halting speech. Their natural rhythm and idiomatic expressions seemed alien to him, almost like a secret code he couldn't crack. He tried mimicking phrases, but they often sounded unnatural or forced when he uttered them. The spontaneity of fluent conversation felt utterly beyond his grasp, a distant, unreachable star. He began to listen English more consciously. During his commutes, instead of music, he opted for English podcasts and audiobooks, hoping for passive absorption. He immersed himself in British and American accents, trying to attune his ears to the rapid-fire delivery of native speakers, often feeling lost. Hours passed with him listening intently, yet understanding remained elusive. He could catch individual words, sometimes even short phrases, but grasping the full context of a conversation or the plot of a story proved incredibly difficult. It felt like wading through thick fog, unable to see clearly. This led him to a crucial realization: simply listening wasn't enough. He needed to listen and practice. He started repeating what he heard, trying to match the intonation and speed, even if he didn't fully comprehend every single word. This active engagement was a new, challenging step. He sought out online language exchange partners, forcing himself to speak, even when terrified of making mistakes. The awkward silences and fumbled sentences were painful, but he pushed through, understanding that real progress demanded active participation, not just passive intake. He needed to conquer his fear. One particularly frustrating evening, while searching for answers online, he stumbled upon articles about how to learn English effectively. The common thread was consistency and finding methods that resonated with individual learning styles. This sparked a glimmer of hope within his weary soul. He read about different approaches: spaced repetition, total immersion, language exchange, and content-based learning. It was a revelation that there wasn't just one rigid path, but a multitude of ways of learning English methods available for different preferences. He felt a newfound sense of agency. Alex decided to experiment. He focused on active recall for vocabulary, testing himself regularly. He started shadow speaking, imitating native speakers from videos, trying to internalize their rhythm. This active approach felt more engaging and productive than his previous passive methods. He also discovered the immense power of why reading is important. Reading, he learned, wasn't just for expanding vocabulary, it also helped internalize grammar structures and sentence patterns naturally, without conscious memorization. He started with simple graded readers, gradually increasing complexity. Reading fiction, especially, opened up new worlds. He wasn't merely studying words, he was experiencing them in context, understanding how characters used language to express emotions and ideas. This contextual learning made vocabulary much stickier, easier to remember and recall in conversation. This led him to the most enjoyable and effective method: learn English through stories. He found that narratives provided a natural, engaging framework for language acquisition. Stories made learning less like a chore and more like an adventure, captivating his attention fully. He started with simplified short stories, then moved to young adult fiction, eventually tackling classic novels. The emotional connection he developed with characters and plots made the language unforgettable. Every new word or phrase learned felt like a discovery within a captivating narrative. Stories provided context for words, making them easier to remember. They exposed him to natural sentence structures and idiomatic expressions in an organic way, unlike dry grammar textbooks. His vocabulary grew exponentially, and he began to internalize complex sentence patterns without explicit effort. As his confidence grew, Alex sought out opportunities to let me tell you talking tips. He realized that the biggest hurdle was often fear of speaking. His first tip was simple: don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes, he learned, were not failures but stepping stones. His second tip: focus on communication, not perfection. Get your message across, even if it's imperfect. The goal is connection, not grammatical flawlessness. This mindset shift dramatically reduced his anxiety and made him more willing to engage in real conversations with native speakers. Thirdly, he advised, practice consistently, even for short periods. 10 minutes of speaking daily is more effective than an hour once a week. Regular exposure and active recall reinforce learning better than sporadic long sessions. Consistency built momentum and confidence over time. He also stressed the importance of finding your own way of learning English. What works for one person might not work for another. Experiment with different resources, from apps to tutors to real-life conversations, until you discover what truly sparks your interest and accelerates your progress effectively. His transformation was remarkable. Alex, who once hesitated to utter a single English word, now conversed fluently and confidently with people from around the world. He understood nuanced jokes and could express complex ideas with ease, a testament to his persistent effort. He had turned his question, "Why I always make mistakes," into a mantra of growth, embracing every error as a learning opportunity. Each stumble became a lesson, pushing him closer to his goal. The fear of imperfection had been replaced by a desire for progress. Remembering words was no longer a struggle, thanks to contextual learning through stories and active recall techniques. He visualized scenes from books, associating new vocabulary with vivid imagery and emotional resonance. The words now stuck firmly in his mind, ready for use. He could now decipher how people speak English, not just the words, but the underlying cultural nuances and conversational rhythms. He understood accents and dialects, his ear finely tuned by hours of dedicated listening and active engagement with various English media. The concept of listen English had evolved from passive background noise to an active, engaging process of understanding and analysis. He enjoyed podcasts and documentaries, not just for language practice, but for the fascinating content they offered. His learning became holistic. His daily routine now naturally incorporated listen and practice. Whether it was commenting on a YouTube video or discussing current events with an online friend, speaking English felt as natural as breathing, a joyful part of his daily life and interactions. Alex embodied the answer to how to learn English. It wasn't about innate talent, but about strategic, consistent effort and a willingness to adapt. He had become his own best teacher, discovering methods through trial and error, relentlessly pursuing fluency. He often shared his journey, encouraging others not to give up, to find their unique way of learning English. He emphasized the joy of discovery and the satisfaction of overcoming challenges, inspiring many with his story of transformation and resilience in the face of linguistic hurdles. Why reading is important, he would tell aspiring learners, extends beyond vocabulary. It builds an intuitive sense of grammar, improves writing skills, and exposes you to diverse styles and perspectives. Reading became a cornerstone of his continued language development and mastery. And for those struggling with engagement, he passionately advocated to learn English through stories. He explained how narratives made the learning process immersive, enjoyable, and incredibly effective for long-term retention. Stories unlocked a natural pathway to fluency for him. He became a mentor, always ready to let me tell you talking tips to anyone starting their English journey. His advice was practical, empathetic, and rooted in his own lived experience, making it incredibly relatable and actionable for others facing similar struggles. Alex's story is a testament to perseverance. He didn't magically wake up fluent, he worked for it, day after day, through setbacks and small victories. His progress was incremental, but cumulative, leading to significant linguistic breakthroughs over time. From being a hesitant speaker, he transformed into an articulate communicator, capable of expressing complex thoughts and engaging in sophisticated debates. His newfound fluency opened doors to international friendships and exciting career prospects, changing his life profoundly. He now travels confidently, navigating foreign cities and interacting with locals without fear. The world, once a collection of disconnected places, felt more accessible and interconnected through the shared bridge of the English language, a bridge he had built himself. The initial frustration about why I always make mistakes had transformed into a deep understanding that mistakes are vital for learning. They are signposts, guiding you towards areas that need more attention, not indications of failure, but opportunities for refinement. His mastery of how to remember words evolved from rote memorization to organic acquisition through meaningful context and active usage. He learned to truly use words, not just recognize them, embedding them in his long-term memory for effortless recall. Understanding how people speak English came from a blend of focused listening and active participation, mimicking and internalizing their natural rhythms. He developed an ear for accents and an intuitive grasp of conversational flow, making interactions smooth and authentic. His dedication to listen English paid off, turning abstract sounds into coherent meaning, making podcasts and films enjoyable linguistic experiences. He could now enjoy content for content's sake, without the constant struggle of interpretation, a true mark of progress. The consistent application of listen and practice solidified his skills, moving him from theory to practical application. He learned that doing was more important than knowing, that active engagement was the fastest route to true fluency and spontaneous expression. He learned that the journey of how to learn English is unique for everyone, but underlying principles like consistency and immersion are universal. He embraced the process, understanding that fluency is a continuous evolution, not a fixed destination to be reached. Finding his perfect way of learning English involved self-discovery and a willingness to try unconventional methods. He experimented fearlessly, discarding what didn't work and doubling down on what truly accelerated his progress and maintained his motivation throughout. Alex often reiterated why reading is important, stressing its multifaceted benefits from vocabulary expansion to cultural immersion. He saw reading not just as a tool, but as a gateway to new knowledge and a deeper understanding of the English-speaking world and its nuances. And his ultimate secret, the most impactful change, was to learn English through stories. It transformed his learning from a task into a passion, proving that enjoyment is a powerful catalyst for language acquisition, making the process effortless and deeply rewarding. Finally, he confidently offered, "Let me tell you talking tips," sharing wisdom born from experience. Embrace mistakes, speak often, and find joy in the process. His transformation served as living proof that anyone could achieve fluency with the right mindset and strategies. Alex often reflected on his initial struggles, the moments of despair and doubt. He used those memories not as burdens, but as reminders of how far he had come, fueling his desire to help others on their own language learning quests, making them accessible. He understood now that language learning isn't a race, but a marathon, filled with small victories and inevitable plateaus. The key, he realized, was persistence, celebrating every tiny improvement and maintaining a positive attitude despite occasional setbacks and challenges. His journey reinforced the idea that listening is the foundation. You must listen English attentively before you can truly speak it effectively. Active listening trains your ear, broadens your vocabulary, and internalizes natural speech patterns for better fluency and comprehension. And then, the practice. He always emphasized listen and practice, reiterating that passive input without active output leads to stagnation. Speaking, even imperfectly, is essential for solidifying knowledge and building confidence in real-world communication scenarios. Alex, once a student plagued by questions, had become a guide, living proof that consistent effort, strategic methods, and a positive mindset can transform frustration into fluent, confident English communication, truly unlocking a world of global opportunities.